In February of 2024, Rocksteady Studios released a much anticipated follow-up to their Batman Arkham series, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and its reception was what an EA executive would describe as constructive.
That's a euphemism for not as positive.
I am one of the 12 people who couldn't wait to see how awful the game actually was, but almost instantly after the credits rolled on the game, like many people, I had decided to go back and play every single entry in the series to see how well each one holds up today. Join me over the course of 6 videos as I explore the Arkham series, the ups, the downs, the pros, the cons, and ask if these games are as good as everyone collectively remembers, or if they've aged as badly as Rocksteady's quality control.
You played yourselves. Welcome to Task Force X.
I can't say this for a fact, but I think most people would agree that Arkham City is the peak of the Batman Arkham series. Whilst Batman Arkham Asylum is a fantastic game and could be argued to be the best, City takes every element of Asylum and dials it up to 11. Bigger map, better story, improved combat and traversal with less loading and stopping because of the limits of the technology, and more freedom in how to tackle all of the above. That isn't even mentioning the side missions from a returning Bane to Mr. Freeze to all of the Riddler trophies, which I will be getting to. Arkham City is far and away an improvement in every area of Arkham Asylum, whilst also telling a far better story. I think though that the biggest addition to Arkham City is an entirely new playable character in Catwoman.
What the hell?
Sorry to disappoint you boys.
And they certainly made some choices. Look, I'm not against some sex appeal in video games. I love Asterion as much as everyone else, and I think that actually this version of Catwoman is faithful to versions of Selina as a femme fatale, using sexuality as a weapon. The problem is, she literally has metal claws that can rip people to shreds. Why is she crawling around on the floor all the bloody time? Most of the other stuff I could wave away as like teenage boy game design, or making her movement distinct from Batman, but the crawling on the floor, why? It's incredibly distracting to me, and no, it isn't because of Polygon ass, it's because she looks fucking ridiculous. Why is she in the middle of a fight with Two-Face just on the ground on all four crawling around like a stupid fucking cat when he has a grenade launcher? I can't handle it. Other than that, I do think Catwoman as a playable character is underbaked and also underused. She's barely in the main plotline, and her missions feel more like side DLC quests rather than actual meaningful parts of the story. And considering her main impact in the game is Riddler trophies, which is also her role in Arkham Knight, it feels like time they should have spent on Robin instead and weaved that secondary character better into the story. Her moves really feel like gimmicks rather than fleshed out parts of a combo set, which I feel is something that most playable characters who aren't Batman feel like, and I get the sense that Rocksteady pulled the plug on further development of Catwoman's story and playstyle when they realised she'd take focus away from the part of the game that actually matters. So let's get into it straight away this time, because the story is fucking brilliant, fairly original, and could really hit you in the laughing gas at points, because this story is obsessed with what every good Batman story is obsessed with: the relationship between the Batman and Joker.
There's nothing wrong with you.
Nice of you to say, but you of all people should know there's plenty wrong with me.
Paul Dini, Paul Crocker, Sefton Hill, they wrote a brilliant continuation of a, quite frankly, insane video game story.
Oh, Mr. Referee, how was that round, please?
And it's kind of an accusation about Batman's codependent, abusive relationship with the Joker. The Joker, dying from his literal madness, infects Batman. It's a race against time before they both die. The main story itself is fairly short, with some really cool boss set pieces that don't blow you away but have some intense story connections that really keep the pace of the game going. Penguin, Solomon,
Grundy, born on a Monday.
Hugo Strange, they're all competently done characters with obvious motivations, but it's in the side missions and the relationship with the Joker where this game shines.
Protocol 10 is ready to begin.
What's amazing about the Batman Joker story and the idea of the Joker infecting Batman is that it creates some brilliant parallels between them and other villains in Arkham City. Bane's storyline is that he seeks redemption by destroying the Titan Venom formula from the first game, the thing that reduced him to the state he's in this one. But in the end, his addiction to it forces him into a fight with Batman and his defeat. Old man Ra's al Ghul is first shown to be this decrepit, seeking an heir old man, and when Batman refuses, his addiction to the Lazarus Pit forces him to push Batman further and further, which leads to his eventual death at the climax of the game, as well as the death of his daughter. Even a character like Mr. Freeze, who is a sympathetic character, he's shown to be in this really weird codependent relationship with his frozen wife, to the point where he fights Batman to get her back. Throughout the entire game, we're seeing villains who are addicted to the things that cause their own downfall, and paying harsh costs because of it. And if you're seeing where I'm going with this, it's because the Joker is Batman's addiction. Whilst obviously the Joker is putting his blood in Batman for his own survival, contextually, within the story, we're seeing the literal control the Joker has over Batman's life. Without the Joker, Batman becomes a little lesser, a bit more sensible and less fun, and the game is critiquing this form of attachment and addiction in all of the memorable side quests we play, because that's what the game wants you to take away from it, that Batman isn't this moral figure, he's just another inmate. And with a story like this, you'd expect Batman at the end to break out of the addiction, to prove he's bigger than that, more than the Joker. But that's not what happens. The final words Batman says to the Joker are,
Even after everything you've done, I would have saved you.
These are the words of the hero. The game has been showing you time after time after time about how addiction is toxic and poisonous, and goes to great lengths to show you those same elements within relationships in the game. And it ends on this note, and with Batman carrying the Joker's body really tenderly out of Arkham City. It's one of my favourite Batman stories because it doesn't just focus on Batman and Joker. It brings up other relationships, like the ones with Talia and Catwoman.
You lied to me.
I needed a sample of your father's blood. This was the only way. I figured you could use my help, Selina.
You're right. I think I chipped a nail back there.
Funny.
Because it needs to show the difference between Batman's relationships with them versus his very toxic one with the Joker.
Oh, come on! Don't tell me it's not what you always wanted.
Batman manipulates Talia to continue his relationship with the Joker, despite their very real feelings for each other, and because of that, she dies. All addiction has consequences, and this is Batman's. Those he loves and cares for get injured. We know this is a post-killing joke and post-death in the family universe, so this has happened multiple times, yet Batman continues and even perpetuates it. This is why Harley takes more of a back seat in this game.
I said move!
And why Robin hardly shows up. Arkham City is about Batman either slowly realising or accepting this situation with Joker. And Harley and Robin represent a continuation of this dynamic into a new generation, which is something the DLCs explores, which... Hold on, let's do this section quickly. So, the Harley DLC is fine, bad, kind of okay. Anyway, it's mostly boring. Anyway, punch, 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 and then Harley blows up the building with Robin inside. The interesting part to me is that Robin survives. I mean, they weren't going to kill him off in a DLC, but if this was the Joker doing this, then Robin would have definitely been battered and bruised, if not outright killed. It's an incredibly interesting addendum to the game's main theme, because we see that already the world is a better place, and we see Batman realise that, but at the same time, we also get dialogue about how Batman is struggling to adapt without the Joker.
It's not been the same since... He won't even talk about Talia or Joker.
How he's been holed up in the Batcave and not talking to anyone about anything that happened in Arkham City. Harley is Joker's Robin in the Arkhamverse, and already in her first non-Joker outing, she's shown to not only be a worse version of the Joker, but nowhere near a match for Robin, who easily defeats her. There is more about this game that I love. The improved grapple hook feels really powerful and gives a great sense of momentum and movement that was missing in Asylum. The open world itself is just filled with secrets and Easter eggs, and all the Riddler trophies that I promise I will get to. I talked briefly about the side missions in relation to the theme, and whilst some of them are interesting, it is annoying how a lot of them are just set up for future side quests in Arkham Knight. Hush and
Azrael
spring to mind, but I really enjoyed the Zsasz missions, since they really used the travel mechanics beautifully and made Zsasz really feel like a serial killer on the hunt. Also, the voice acting remains on point. Nearly every performance in the game is beyond brilliant, and I really don't think there's a bad performance in the game. And we even get to hear D. Bradley Baker do a human that isn't a Star Wars clone, which is always nice.
You will kill me.
Of course, where do you go from one of the best Batman stories, mixed with some of the most interesting villain side missions, one of the tightest open world maps, and interesting additional content? Well, backwards, of course. And for this in-depth review series that is fueled by my mental illness, I went out and got, whilst it was on sale, Batman Arkham Origins. Oh no.
and you alone can thrill me like you do.